wonders who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report, where we count down the top 10 things each week that make us go wow.
Wow.
I'm Fenton Bailey, drag queen advocate.
I did see that.
Joined
news.
by James St. James, drag queen advocate.
Yes.
Edward Bochnick.
Drag queen
All right.
advocate.
And our very special guest, Franz Szony.
You said it right. Thank you.
That's
Drag
amazing.
queen.
Drag queen and advocate.
And advocate,
Right,
yes.
right. I'm very excited because you have an exhibition here at the Wow Gallery, which opens tonight.
Yes, thank you to you actually, and the wonderful people of Wow. Yeah, I get to have my first show here. So
Okay,
I'm
so
excited.
what we do is we count down the top 10 things that make us go wow.
Wow.
Okay.
And you are at number 10,
Number 10.
Well, thank you.
Franz Szony.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Well,
that.
tell us a little bit about your art, because I was looking at a lot of it last night, and there's some really amazing pictures. Tell us what the aesthetic is and what we can expect from the show.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but my hometown is actually Reno, and
That explains a lot.
that explains a lot. Yes, and but the good thing about growing up in Reno is that Reno has all this wonderful history of the showgirl, and so growing up there, that kind of got into my head, and I think just the closest thing I could identify with when I moved to Los Angeles was drag queens. I think that they're the modern day showgirls.
Yeah.
So, some of my most favorite portraits are really that of drag queens, and I think the first person that I shot was Sultan Raja,
Right.
and I've been fortunate over the years to shoot. I've done a lot of album covers. I've worked with Sharon Needles.
I was going to say,
and,
you did that Sharon Needles with the shark
the
tooth.
taxidermy.
Yes, that's
I was up
fantastic.
till 4 a.m. making whatever we call that, vagina with teeth for
Vagina
her.
dentata.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Vagina dentata.
Yeah,
It sounds like
exactly.
Hakuna Matata. Vagina
Yes.
dentata.
That's
Yes.
the sequel.
Yeah. So
It's one
over
of my
the
favorite
years.
drag queen album covers, I think, ever.
Well,
It's
thanks.
really fantastic.
Well, thank you. It's one of my favorite images, and I show it at every show, even though it's now 6 years old, 5 years old, whatnot. But I love it. It's one
Yeah.
of my
We
favorites,
use
and
it as the
yeah,
invite,
as
on
my
invite.
as
Oh,
my
is it?
little
Yeah.
flyer.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're gonna post some images on the Wow Report, but it sort of come like there's a surreal, grotesque, sort of a little bit Hieronymus
Thanks.
Bosch.
Oh,
Going like, what are your?
thank you very
what are your-
much.
I was thinking, I see some like Pierre Gilles,
Oh,
and I see some
they're my heroes.
James Bidgood in there. I see
Very much.
a lot of that, but it's taken to a different level, and but the colors are very saturated and very
Thank you.
beautiful. And
Well, I get a lot of inspiration from kind of early Technicolor when things weren't still quite right. Skin tones were kind of green, reds were overly red. Throw in Joel Peter Whitkin, by the way. I don't know if you
Yes.
know that,
Oh,
but
my God, yes.
if Joel Peter Whitkin colorized his images,
yeah, because
you
there
know.
is the grotesque element to it,
Yes.
but it's
Thanks.
beautiful grotesque. It's
Thanks.
fabulous grotesque.
Thank you for that. Thanks. Thank you.
And there's you were telling me that you did the Violet video.
I just worked with Violet. She's going on tour, a show called A Lot More Me, and so I did all the promo for that. And
Well, I wonder, it's interesting with working with someone like Violet or Dita, who has such a very specific vision of who they are, and you come in with a very specific vision. Do you ever clash, or do you find that a lot of times that you mesh together well, beautifully?
I've kind of been lucky in the sense that a lot of people that I work with just trust me right off the bat, and I think with Dita, at least, we kind of have like a glamour telepathy with each other, which
I love that.
Yeah, I think it took a shoot to kind of get it underway, but I've actually photographed Dita more than anyone else so far.
She's your
At least
muse, then.
she's the best muse you could have, frankly.
For someone who
and,
doesn't know Dita Von Teese, I can't imagine anyone within
Then
the
you're
sound
living
of my
under
I
a
was
voice.
rock.
going to say, nobody listening to us had better not know who she is.
Yeah.
But how would you describe Dita Von Teese?
Oh, totally not one of this time, or planet, frankly. I mean, she's a special person. I don't even know how to go there. She's just the most glamorous time capsule, incredible performer. I remember one of the first times I saw her shows. I mean, it's amazing how she can captivate a whole room with even something that's relatively simple. She's so just beautiful to look at, and she has this effervescence to her, and she's really funny, actually. When I think a lot of times people have this poised
you think that
view
she's
of her.
going to be icy glamour.
You think she's going to be icy?
But anyone who was married to Marilyn Manson has to have a sense of humor.
No, Dita's crazy, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's wonderful. I love her. Yeah.
Go ahead.
We met Franz through celebrity Devin Green.
Oh my
Amazing Devin.
God.
Another wonderful person. Yeah.
And so we met with him a couple times, and just like looking at your work, we just felt like I just want to go in those pictures. I want to be a part of everything that's in there. So that's what we're gonna try to do with this gallery. Like,
Thank you.
Just come into the mind
Make an
of
immersive
Franz.
experience.
Thank
I
you.
cannot wait.
Yeah, exciting.
Well, that opening is when is it? Friday. Tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight. Because tonight at 7:30. So come down to World of Wonder on Hollywood Boulevard. If you don't know where it is, you just look for RuPaul's Star, and that's the entrance to the gallery. We're at 6650 Hollywood Boulevard. Is there an open bar, Edward?
Of course.
Oh, there's little drinks too.
We'll have
All right,
drinks for you guys.
We
All right,
will.
well,
The
very
best part of
excited.
any gallery, people come
Well,
come for the drink, stay for the art.
And if you can't make it to the opening,
Yeah.
the show is running through August 31st. So come by.
Would we have images online for people to see and check out?
We will have everything online
Gorgeous.
on our Instagram, on our Facebook, on everything.
And will you
And
be able
follow
to
Franz,
buy
too.
the art online as well?
I'm sure we could set something up, or if someone sees something online and they want to
Sure.
buy it.
Well, all of my work is for sale on my website. However, come to the show. I'll give you a deal.
All right, moving on. Number 9, Jane.
Number 9.
Number 9. I'm not sure whether we talked about this before with Blake. Did we?
It feels pretty omnipresent.
Euphoria. Okay.
Right.
I just got into Euphoria. I had been fighting it for a little while. It's every generation has a teenage show that shows it's groundbreaking. It shows teenagers like we've never seen them before. In the 90s, it was My So-Called Life. In the 2000s, it was Skins. Remember Skins? Oh my God, Cassie. And then just a few years ago, there was 13 Reasons Why, which was very
heavy.
Very heavy material. This is it's Zendaya, who I know from Spider-Man. You know from what? She had a Nickelodeon show.
She had a Nickelodeon show, I believe, but I know her mostly from Spider-Man as well.
Shake It Up, was it? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch it?
I did not. I was too old for that.
Okay. She's recently out of rehab. The first episode, she's been in a coma. She was in rehab, and it's sex and drugs and penises galore. It is It is crazy. It is so depressing and so hardcore. And she just drifts from pillar to post and just drug overdose to drug overdose. And I called my niece, who is 19, and I said, "Is this what your life is like?" And she said, "Kind of, Uncle Jimmy." And
Wait, how old is your niece?
She's 19, and it was terrifying to me that I usually, when I was going out and everything, I like to find the bottom of every situation. I like to find as dark and as desperate as you can go without dying. That was always my shtick, and that I would like to go to an opium den on Avenue D, and then a gallery opening later in the day, and see if I could just do that high-low thing. And I think if I was a teenager now, I would be dead in a day. This is so hardcore what these kids go through, and I think as a parent you should just be terrified at what's out there for what
as a parent. I'm too terrified to watch it. There's no question.
It is,
and also I just don't like that bleak shit. Why does it always have to be so bleak and dark and cold?
But the thing is, it's these kids, with social media, and they are sitting in their bedrooms, and the parents have no clue what's going on, and the kids are sitting there sending dick pics at age 14 to one another. They're sending, show me your boobs, spread your legs, let's see what you got. And that's just the reality of kids today. And it's just absolutely, like I said, it's absolutely terrifying.
Is it the reality of kids
It
today,
is.
or is it a perverse?
No.
forced-
I honestly believe that kids today are, they're sexualized so much earlier.
Yep.
And one of the things is there's a great scene in there where one of the girls is losing her virginity to this guy, and he starts choking her, and she's like, "What are you doing? Stop!" Well, all they ever have seen is porn, and that's what they think sex is it's all just choking and slapping bitches on the ass, and it's just, and so just the way kids are growing up is very different than the.
Well, that was his dad's porn.
Well, no. This is the different one. This is Lexi and
Got it.
yeah. But the guy. Okay, there's also Eric Dane who is in it, who is in Grey's Anatomy, and he's this perverse older man. He's the father of the jock, and he likes to sleep with trans teenagers. And there's a trans girl, Jules, who is so fantastic, played by Hunter Schafer.
She's incredible.
Incredible. I mean, Emmys all around to everybody in this show. Maud Apatow is in it. Eric Dane. Jacob Elordi is the villainous jock who is Nate, who is conflicted. He likes Jules. He likes the trans girl at school, but he's also like
What are you saying? You're being all coy, not like you.
No. Well, the first time he meets her, it's at a party, and he's the bully, and he gets all up in her face, and he's sort of like beating her, and she grabs a knife, and she's like, "Oh no, motherfucker!" And she like starts slashing herself. She's like, and she's coming for his penis and everything like that. And then he sort of gets turned on by that. He likes it, and it's
likes
just
what?
He likes her being, crazy, and he's all crazy, and they just it's
so good.
Who wrote it? What evil mind is behind this shit?
I don't know. I think that everyone needs to watch it because it's shocking that this is the world we live in today. It really is.
All right. Euphoria, HBO Now and HBO Go. I'm not going to watch it. I can't take stuff like that.
I think I'm with you.
No, but the
You've
thing
never
is,
seen it?
I've never seen. Well, I don't have cable.
It's beautifully,
so,
beautifully shot.
Good for you.
It is. No, it is really. I mean,
see,
it's gorgeous.
but that's it. It's like distress porn. It's like heroin chic. It's the same thing.
But I mean, there's always gorgeous when you think of what was the one with Jordan Catalano, Jared Leto. What was that movie? Remember the drug movie that he was? No, the drug movie with Jared Leto.
Which one
In
is
the
it?
90s? Like when?
Yeah, with a trans character, right? I don't know.
Oh, that was recent.
Quick,
Some movie we
look it up.
We run into this problem all the
I
time
know,
on this
just
show.
cut all of that out. I'm having a senior moment.
Keep it all in. Keep it all in.
And it had the woman from Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, come
what was that
on.
movie?
It was one of the best movies of all time, and it was just beautifully shot. Oh, you guys,
I'm pre-coffee, so I'm not going to be
It
much
doesn't
help
make
with
any
this.
difference. Pre-coffee, post-coffee. We can't remember anything.
It was Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. You remember that?
She was taking diet pills.
Yeah. And then remember his arm sort of was chopped off at the end.
Okay. Number 8.
Number 8.
I've been watching a charming reality competition elimination show called Blown Away, which is a glass blowing competition. See, there are wholesome things out there. It isn't all sort of sex and drugs.
Now, and we had a little talk about this last night, did we not?
We did, yes, because James St. James was headhunted some months ago to be on this show as a judge.
Okay.
I was and I was,
And we were incredulous because he talked about it on the radio show. We're like, don't talk such rubbish. There's no such thing as a glass-blowing elimination reality show.
and I kept thinking, like, what would my account? What would I be able to contribute to a glass blowing show? I had no idea how my name got thrown into the mix. It was interesting, and I kept thinking, well, do I need to learn about glass blowing?
You do.
I do. And
I think youth of today could do with learning how to blow
a little less heroin and a little more glass blowing is what it is.
It's
blow your own crack pipes is what I say.
You just put it between your lips and blow.
Just don't inhale. That
Right?
Yeah.
It's very fascinating. You've watched an episode.
I did watch
right?
it. I watched
Yeah.
2 episodes.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the one boy.
Edgar.
The little with the
Looks
dreads
like
and
Prince.
with the little green eyes.
22.
So beautiful.
Very
Wonderful.
talented.
And he was one of the. I loved his little hand with the globe in it. Like the things that these people can do with glass.
Oh, so they make them into?
They have the,
Oh, got it,
they
got
have
it,
the
yeah,
furnace, and they make the and
Yeah.
I was just picturing like a balloon and just I don't know. I've
no,
never seen glass
but
blowing.
the shapes they
But
can make.
like vases, and glass is basically blown. You put a blob of glass, molten glass, on the end of a pipe, and you blow it into these shapes, and it's you kind of can't stop watching because it's like, how do they do this?
They'll blow it, and it'll be like the shape of a hand, or the shape of like there was the one, and it was like the little ones inside of the. It was like vases inside of vases.
Okay, so the other mercy of it is it's only a half hour per episode, which I think is genius. There's only one challenge per episode, and they have 4 hours to do the challenge. 4 hours, and the first episode challenge was a snapshot. They had to create a piece of glass that evoked, that responded to a snapshot that meant something to them.
Yeah, they brought in a picture from their life,
Like
and they had to
someone
sort of
had their
bring that to life.
All their kids. And that was the other hilarious, unanticipated benefit, is the pretentiousness of some of the things that they create. So the snapshot is like things you love, and one of them did, what was it called? A lacrimarium, which is a tear collector, which is some sort of collection of vases with a lens because the dog died, and it's to collect your tears, and it was a sort of, yes. Or existential awakening of the hand holding the world.
the thing
interactive shared breath was the name of another piece. You know,
the thing about it though is it's all beautiful, and it can be very pretentious and everything like that. But the thing about glass is glass breaks, and that keeps you on the edge of your seat, because at any moment during the process, it can just go south.
It could come off your punty.
You have to start
That's
all
what your
over.
stick is called. It's
If
called
you
a
have
punty.
like sometimes you have 15 minutes left, and then everything breaks, and you're like, that's it, I'm out. And it's just crazy. And like it will be so beautiful, and you'll see it almost coming, and then it'll just shatter.
It's a fabulous sound. The sound of breaking glass is always
It
very
is very
satisfying.
cathartic, yes.
It's a great. It's a bit like all these cooking shows. Actually, it's the same thing, because in a cooking show, the issue is always that everything's raw. It's always the same. Gordon Ramsay saying, "What the fuck is this? This is fucking raw." And it's the same with glass. It just breaks.
Yeah.
But even though it's the same trick, time and again and again and again,
There's always tension there.
yes.
It's always it's incredibly
always delivers.
I have to add to that too. If you've never seen the Chihuly documentary, Chihuly.
yeah.
Chihuly is like the most famous living glass blower there is. He did the,
He does all the things with the tentacles.
he did the chandelier at the Bellagio,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
which I don't even want to say
Chihuly, how do you
chandelier.
spell
It's-
that?
oh God, I have no idea.
CHIHHHUHHLH.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in a part of the documentary, all of the remnants, or he'll be working with his team for months on a piece, and if it gets damaged in the documentary, he does this like once every year. He'll take all these sculptures out and just throw them into like lakes, and so there'll be these huge, beautiful floating
Really?
pieces of glass. Probably not the safest to swim in, but these beautiful kind of, huge, bigger than this room, just these massive sculptures.
I always think of him in Miami. It seems like there's a lot of stuff of his in Miami.
Yeah. I hope he's a judge on the show.
Yeah.
Should be.
I wish they had you on the show, James.
I had that lampshade that I was trying to make into a dress, and I was going to wear it on that because they were doing like a pop art challenge, is what it was.
Oh, right, because one of the challenge, maybe also though, one of the challenge was lighten up, where they have to make something, a light fixture out of glass.
That would have totally gone with my lampshade.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty good. It's streaming blown away, streaming on Netflix. And what was it? There is a funny thing where they say, oh yes, it's the best in blow for the challenge. And then of course,
Try some blow.
Best in blow.
Cute, right? But it's too bad. I have sad news for you, James,
What's
about
that?
Edgar. Your love interest. gone
No,
blown
is he
away.
already gone? Oh, bless his heart. He's so beautiful. I
Very.
mean, just stunning.
He's a star, actually,
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah. I think we should get him on Drag Race or something.
Meanwhile, watch the brand new season of $1 Million Listing New York, Thursdays, 9 p.m. on Bravo for Red Hot Real Estate and Red Hot Real Drama. It's a really good season. It's
Well, who's
really,
RuPaul
really
is
good.
back? So my little Louis. Louis is
yes,
back. I
yes.
love him so much.
Yes.
I want to marry him.
All right, well, maybe better hurry up. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Molten glass, when you're blowing glass, It's periodically reheated in a furnace called...
Oh, I know this because I watched it.
Oh, no fair.
You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Okay, welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James St. James and Edward and our special guest, Franz.
Hello.
Franz or Franz?
Franz.
Franz.
Yes.
Franz. Before the break, we were just talking about Blown Away, which is this amazing,
Yeah.
glass-blowing reality elimination competition show on Netflix. It's actually made in Canada. Did you know that?
I did know that.
And the director
Oh,
is...
that's why I couldn't go because they couldn't afford to fly me from California to Toronto. I think is where it's shot.
Well, I can also reveal that the showrunner of that is the showrunner of RuPaul's Drag Race Canada.
Oh,
which
fun.
is coming soon. Yeah. So before the break, the question was, when you're blowing glass, you reheat it in a furnace called what? Now I know you know. Hold on.
Well, I was going to give a clue.
I'll give a clue. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because when you're being blown, you go to a.
Well, I was going to say kiln, but I think that's for clay.
When you're
so
getting blown, you go to a...
Good clue.
You got it.
No,
I thought you
Edward
said,
doesn't want to. Edward knows exactly
Well,
what
I'm
it
gonna
is.
say-
Doesn't want to say.
when you're being blown, you go to a glory hole, and that's what it's called. You put the glass in the glory hole.
No way.
And every time they love saying it on
And
the show, don't
they know exactly what they're doing.
because they each have a personal glory hole.
Go to your glory hole. Men to the glory holes.
That's so funny.
Man, your glory hole, everybody.
All right, so we're counting down top 10 things that made us go wow. We've reached number 7. Edward.
Number 7.
Number 7, have you heard of this pop star named Kim Petras?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I am...
No?
You know?
You don't know Kim Petras? She's only the biggest star on the planet.
Well,
She's
educate me.
So about a year ago, over a year ago, we were in Palm Springs, and my friends and I stole a limo. We went around... You
stole
not
a
stole
limo?
Well, it was someone's at the
I
party.
don't know that you should be mentioning
No,
this
we didn't
ad.
steal a limo. It was someone
They're
at the
police
parties,
pub-
but we borrowed it for a little bit. And this model in the limo was like, let's play this new artist, Kim Petras. So we played her song, and we played it over and over and over
As
in
you're
the limo.
you're
we're
in
this
your
limo.
stolen limousine.
What is the song?
The song's called Heart to Break. And when I heard it, I was like, this is one of the best pop songs I've heard in a long time. And I come from like 2000s pop, where it's like Britney, Christina, like all that. And like, I was so like mesmerized by this song.
Without knowing her
without knowing
backstory.
who this was. Her story is so amazing. She's like 23, 24 now. She's from Germany. She was one of the youngest.
What's the youngest?
The youngest trans girl to get surgery and like become a trans girl.
Yeah, when she was 13
she was
or
like
14.
13 or 14.
Yeah.
So that was like her big like thing coming up.
She got her start like mostly in social media.
Yeah.
She became a huge Instagram star, a Vine star, I
Yeah.
think all of that. And she's just gorgeous, just
She's
stunning.
Incredible.
Well, how
Very-
old is she now then?
She's 23.
23, yeah.
But she's a German pop star, trans, and just the kids just go bananas
Crazy
for her.
for her.
Yeah.
And she just started like a couple months ago. She just was releasing a song every week. I was like, wow, like that's weird. No one just releases songs, and it turned into a whole album. So like she just released a song every week instead of here's
On
the
social
al-
media, yeah.
So instead of here's my album, listen to it. It's like you're gonna get a song every week, which becomes the album, which
And
I
it's
thought
such
was
a genius way to keep
Yeah.
building every single
Yeah.
week. More and more people are coming on to your website and
Exactly.
your Twitter, and
She's so smart, and
yeah, and
her music. It
infectious.
This is a bold statement, but it kind of reminds me of like her Blackout album. It's just I know.
Wow, what
It's
a-
just every
wow.
song is so good from start. It's a press play album. You start it and you just keep going.
Yeah.
So she's had one album.
She's had one album. and
Has she
it's-
toured?
Oh, she
Yes,
tours
she just came to LA.
extensively, Yeah.
My friends took me for my birthday. We didn't steal a limo this time, but we got.
Where did
yeah,
she play?
Down here at the Fonda.
Uh-huh.
And
I know
it
Blake
was-
went. I mean,
Blake
I think
was
everybody
there.
at World of Wonder went to go to see
it
that
was
show.
so fun. It was one of the best concerts I've been to this
And
whole
the
year.
crowd is just, I mean, the love that people have for her.
Yeah.
This generation, she's like one of those sort of seminal figures for the 2000 teens. She's just absolutely
I have a feeling
amazing.
she's just gonna blow up and be this huge mega pop star.
Yeah.
You should shoot her. I think she should
I'd
be
love
your
to
next.
shoot her,
Yeah.
Kim. If
So
you're
just a
listening,
little glamour
give me a
push.
call.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
so sweet and just like
She's
yeah.
gorgeous.
She's taken like this sort of Troye Sivan route to superstardom, but she's taken.
Yeah.
She just exponentially.
She came out to LA to just be a songwriter, and her music was so good that they're like, "Can you sing?" She's like, "Yeah." So then they just started putting her on her songs.
She in
and-
LA?
Yeah, she's in LA. But yeah, she's
Yeah.
incredible. Listen, I'm gonna send you the album so you can listen to it.
Oh, exciting. Okay, Kim Petras. New album, Clarity. You can get it everywhere. Number 6, James. What made you go, wow?
Number 6.
Well, this is not one of those good wows. This is one of those. I am
no.
so
Howls of rage.
howls.
Not a wow, it's a howl.
It's a howl of rage. Yes, Orange is the New Black is back. Has anyone
I'm
done
halfway
every?
through the last season.
Okay, I'm halfway
The
through
season
the
before.
No,
Or
this current
final.
last
Because this
season.
is the final
This is
season.
the final season.
God bless them. It's about time to end it because they have been beating on this damn drum for 2 seasons. There was that riot. The 2 seasons before there was just a riot, and then this is the aftermath of the riot. And it's like they're just pulling. I mean, it's pulling the end of the dog or whatever the expression is. Where it's like it's about time to end it. Like they're running out of ideas. Every single character, the character arc finished in season 4, and they're just thumping away at it, and like these characters are not interesting enough to sustain 9 seasons or however much it is.
So why are you watching it?
Because I've invested this much time in it, and there's still flashes of genius.
Yes.
There's still like the first episode. Uzo Adabo is her name. She plays Crazy Eyes. And in the first episode, as things are getting darker and darker in her world, she's imagining that it's a children's show, and then she's imagining that her life is a music video, and it was really done beautifully. It was really fabulous. Like I said, there are flashes that are really good, but basically the main character, what's her name, the blonde
Piper.
God, I mean,
Boring. I thought she wasn't going to be on this season because
she's so boring.
She left jail or got out of jail last season.
And now
they were
she's
following
back,
again.
and
Why is she back?
Who knows? I can't even keep up
Is
with these
Natasha
storylines.
Lyonne still on it?
Yes.
Natasha's on, and
Yeah.
Natasha's brilliant. But Natasha now, I mean, if you want your Natasha fix, do Russian Dolls
Oh my
instead
God.
because
Nominated for every Emmy that's out there.
amazing. That damn song, if I hear it one more freaking
You know you can
time,
skip it.
I do, and I skip it, but then every once in a while, it'll like, because it cycles through, I'll be, and it'll just come on, I'll be like, God, stop it, leave me alone. I feel like I'm about to go insane every time I watch the damn show.
I was just thinking about this the other day. Remember, it was the first like binge crazy show that came
was.
out.
It was
Remember that?
Netflix's first big thing,
Yeah.
right?
And it was the first couple of seasons were brilliant, and you loved all the women and everything. Like, but I just hate them all.
I just
now.
remember how crazy it
I
was they
hate
released-
every single one of those women.
So you hate watching?
I do. I hate watch it. Yeah, because I've got to get through. It's like I'm a completist, and I need to finish something.
Elitist. It was like last season of House of Cards was just appalling, unwatchable rubbish.
Well, so
And
many of these shows just don't know when to quit, and they're just trying.
Has he said too much?
James,
I'm kidding. Oh my God.
Are you done with Orange is the New Black?
I'm done with Orange is the New
Shall
Black.
I move
yeah.
on?
Please move on. Yes.
Well, final season Orange is the New Black is on Netflix. Where else? Because James is talking about it, and he only talks about things on Netflix.
That's not true. I've tried to shake things up this season.
James.
Yes.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Did you ever read Lord of the Flies,
I did.
Edward?
Yeah, back in high
William-
school.
Oh my God! I can't believe we're talking about something we've all read. Have you, Franz? Have you read Lord of the
No, I
Flies?
haven't.
Lord of the Flies is this kind of like, I guess it's like Franny and Zoe or Catcher in the Rye. It's like one of those like school
texts that you
They
have
made us
to
read it in
yeah.
school.
Texts that
Yes.
all school kids have to read. And the reason I just reread it because Nolan, my son, who's 12, that's his holiday reading assignment to read Lord of the Flies, and he was complaining about the whole thing so much that I said, okay, I'll just read the book myself with you, so.
Well, wait,
I
this
read
is
it.
interesting because
Yeah.
what is the difference between reading it when you have to read it in high school and reading it for pleasure when you're in your later years?
I was reading it out of a sense of fatherly obligation.
But you take something away different from it now than what Nolan
because
is.
One thing I remember from the book is always the image of Piggy with his brain split out on the rock rocks of the island when it all goes completely pear-shaped. Because here's the story in a nutshell.
Okay.
Group of British school kids. The book was written in 1954. Group of British school kids fleeing an unknown, unspecified war, crash land on a paradisiacal island. And there are no adults, and they attempt to manage themselves. And as you might imagine, the whole thing devolves into chaos. They regress into tribalism. They become primitive savages. People die. It's really unpleasant.
And people like you see how quickly people can go to the evil, can go to the dark side.
That's right.
And how the poor
and
the
fear of monsters or bogeyman.
The hierarchy that establishes itself immediately, where the strong become bullies and the weak
or
just
just
get
the
trampled
bullies
on.
take control and then they use fear. So your question of like why now and how is it how is it reading it as an adult?
Or
Is it
a Trump allegory?
It's a Trump allegory.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no question that the sort of the bully is the cowardly figure, but he takes power, he incites fear in everybody else, he picks on people, he identifies targets that end up being murdered, he basically unleashes rage and desperation. And what I didn't realize is that the book had a profound influence on many people, but on Stephen King, who wrote The Stand and Cujo, Pet Sematary, It. I mean, he's the sort of modern master of horror, right? Mm-hmm. And he read the book when he was 12. And he was in the local library and said, are there any books about what kids are really like? Because at the time it was all like the Hardy Boys and these sort of optimistic gung-ho adventures. And he talks about how he read it many, many times as a kid, and once found the author, William Golding, wrote a postscript. Because the book ends, spoiler alert, the book ends with these kids abandoned on this island, becoming savages, rape, murder, mayhem. They're rescued by the adults. There's a British naval ship turns up, and just as things are just about to become completely murderous and everybody's going to die, the island's on fire, the British officer of the Navy turns up, and so the kids are rescued by the adults. And William Golding said in his postscript, he said, it's great in my novel that the kids are rescued by the adults, but who will rescue the adults? And that was for me, the chilling piece of rereading the book, because the kids are there because there's been a war started by the adults. And so the one thing that's sort of left out of the book is the craziness that triggers this situation in the first place. Are you following me?
Yeah, and
am I making my point?
No, and the kids are going back, and you think you're rescuing them from chaos, but actually you're taking them back to the chaos of the adult world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it felt like such a parallel to what's happening right now in terms of spreading fear and hatred. I mean, it was like chilling.
There have been a couple movie versions of it. There was a really good one, in the 90s? I can't remember. It had every star ever. I can't remember. But there are versions out there if you don't want to read the book.
There are, and there was going to be quite recently an all-female version that got canned. They just abandoned it. I guess because
females don't
maybe
descend into madness.
Well, I have a feeling they do, but maybe this isn't the right time to explore that. People aren't ready for that particular narrative,
How is Nolan liking it now?
He didn't really, it's like...
But there is enough, chaos and violence and stuff that you would think that a 13-year-old boy would enjoy it.
Yeah, he was strangely sort of unmoved by it, because I was like...
Well, that's that thing where that's his life. That's what it's like in teenage... That's what Nolan's going through right now. He doesn't need to read it. He's living it.
Well, if you want, you can get Lord of the Flies on Amazon and read it. I kind of recommend it. It is pretty good. It is pretty good.
Okay.
I have a question for you, though, before we go to the break. Lord of the Flies is the name of the book. Do you know what the book was originally called? No, of course you don't. But do you know what the name where Lord of the Flies comes from?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a translation of something.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you one more clue. It's a translation from something in the Bible.
Oh, well, I was
Okay.
going to say something from the Bible, and now you've just taken away my answer.
No, you have to tell me what it is translated from the Bible. It's not I haven't given you the answer. I've just given you a clue.
Well, I was going to... Oh, okay, go.
Okay. Listen to our Radio Andy, Sirius XM. We'll be right back.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
And welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM. I'm Fenton here with James and Edward and Franz.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
We're talking about Lord of Flies. Fantastic book from 1954. Bestseller. Everyone should read it. Lord of Flies, though, is a biblical someone in the Bible.
Well, it's Satan, of course, right? Isn't it
Well-
Beelzebub or something?
Oh, Beelzebub.
Beelzebub, yeah.
Beelzebub is
Yeah.
the demon who will prevent the plague of flies.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay.
Interesting.
Wow.
I like Beelzebub better.
right.
Beelzebub,
Beelzebub.
that's my new drag name.
Beelzebub.
I'm Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub. It's 7:30 in the morning. How can I be
It's not
expected to know my biblical
It was
name?
originally called Strangers from Within because the whole idea is the kids are terrified on the island, and the reason they give in to human sacrifice and what have you is because they think there's a beast.
There
But
is
there
a beast.
isn't
isn't
a beast.
No, I thought there was a warthog.
No, it's the strangers from within. The beast is inside the kids.
Wait, there's no warthog that comes
There's
and attacks
some pigs on the island that they hunt and kill. But,
Yeah.
but that's not the beast.
Well, they're beastly pigs. They're beasts. Okay.
It's the pig
I'm
inside
sorry.
of you.
Number 4, Edward, save us.
Number 4.
Well, last night I went to see a movie called The Farewell. Have you guys heard of it? With Akwafina.
Akwafina.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Tell us about it.
Okay, so it's a movie about Akwafina plays this girl who's she's from China but now lives in New York with her parents, and they get a call that her grandma, who still lives in China, has cancer, and she's very close to her grandma. So she's like, I want to go see her, but and the parents are like, no, you can't go see her because we can't tell her that she's sick.
Oh.
We want her to live her life thinking she's okay.
They did that to my grandmother too.
Really?
Yeah, she had
Here?
she had cancer, and nobody told her because they didn't. They wanted her last days, her last year to be.
At some point, didn't she figure out?
Well, when I found out, I was furious with my family for doing that. But that
Exactly.
was something that people did back in the day because you didn't want. I mean, if there was nothing you can do, if it's a
Actually, when my mum died of cancer, and they also, it wasn't that she knew she had cancer, but like no one was prepared to sit her down and say, you're not going to get better from this.
Right.
And I remember one day she said to me, I'm not going to get better, am I? And I was like, no, you're not. And like, it's,
Oh, that's really sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Didn't
No, it's no, but
Back
that's
to
what,
back to the movie.
That's what the movie is about. It's just her, going to see her family over in China, and that
So
cultural.
it's not a comedy with Akwafina.
It's a light comedy. There's some funny parts in it, and like.
But do we see Akwafina's dramatic chops?
She is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I was so blown away by her performance in this movie. She's usually the sidekick, funny comedian.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich
Fantastic
Asians.
in that.
Ocean's 54. I don't know what movie was that with the girl.
Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8. Yeah.
I didn't think she was that good in that.
I don't either, but she was great in Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh.
But no, this one I feel like she's gonna get nominated for Oscars for
Really?
this. She is so good. There's a scene where she's just on the floor crying to her mom about like, why did you move me over here and then not. And because her mom's just like, no one's like you. No one's, no one shows emotions. No one wants to talk about things like you. It's like, well, you raised me in the United States.
product
That's
of
what
you,
is.
yeah.
Exactly. And she's so incredible. The movie's shot really amazing, and it's a lot of subtitles, but it's one of those movies where the language is so good that you just keep following and following. And the grandma in it is so cute and adorable, and I just think it was such a great movie. It was very heartwarming.
Did you cry?
I cried at the end. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a really, really good touching
I
moment.
guess the
but
grandma doesn't.
you'll have to go see it. That's one of the things that made me really tear up in it was it takes a little turn.
Is that?
But yeah, Akwafina is so good. I recommend anyone to go see it. If you
What's
just
it
wanna
called?
The Farewell.
The farewell.
Yeah, and it debuted at Sundance this year, so it was
right.
one of the big movies to come out of that. But if you like Akwafina,
Love
go
her.
see her.
Number 3, James.
Number 3.
I watched a documentary last night that I wonder if you saw when it opened, a 1922 documentary from Sweden called Häxan, Witchcraft Through the Ages. And this is absolutely insane when you think about it. 1922 is one of the first documentaries ever made. It was the same year as Nanook of the North, right? Do you remember? Were you there?
I remember Nanook
I
of
was
the
there.
North, but I was because it was Isaac Mizrahi's inspiration for the collection that is featured in Unzipped, right?
Right, yes.
Nanook of the North.
Yeah. You didn't have to watch Nanook of the North when you were in school? We did. We were in 5th grade. We had to watch it. It's fascinating. It's one of the first times they went to, they followed an Inuit family. You see them hunting caribou and eating whale blubber and all this stuff. But it was like color film, 1922. It's absolutely fantastic. But this is, it's about witchcraft, and it was the first documentary to use reenactments. And there's a lot of firsts in it. There was a first, they have like the witches flying over the cities, and everyone was like, how do you have that? And it was like miniature, they had built miniature cities, and nobody had ever done that before. So there's a lot of really interesting, groundbreaking things, but it's also famous because it's 3 hours, and it is nudity, it is, there's rapes, there's sex, it is hardcore. It shows like the Inquisitions, they're burning witches, they are, dunking them in water and everything like that. And they're really doing this to people, and they have like these little old ladies dressed up as witches that they are torturing, and it's like
these are the reenactments?
These are the reenactments, yeah. And
Wow.
it's crazy to watch. The first half is all scholarly. He found a book caught on a used bookstore, the director, a 15th century German guide to Inquisitions called the Malleus Malefactorium.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it's a very famous. If you're into witches, you know the Malleus, and it just talks about how it's a guide to hunting witches, and so the first half is using all these old wood graves. Wood carvings or whatever from the 15th century and the 16th century, everything, and then it goes into the second half as all these reenactments of Middle Ages torture and everything.
Where did you see this?
It was on TCM, and they said that when it came out, people were horrified, and people were saying that there were some people.
I've seen it, by the way. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
There's a
okay.
really amazing one that was done in the 70s too about the occult, and but this takes the cake.
They said that it's been brought back periodically. In the 40s, they did it, and in the 60s, they did it.
Yeah.
And every time, people are saying, "Where is the initial
Wait. So
response?"
you're saying they remade Häxan, or
No. They show it with different with Wagner scores and Chopin scores and things like that.
Is it a silent?
It's a silent movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And they say that as wonderful as as wonderful though this picture is, it is absolutely unfit for public exhibition. The satanic, perverted cruelty that blazes out of it stalked the ages like an evil shaggy beast. But when it is captured, let it be locked up in a cell, either in a prison or a madhouse. Do not let it be presented with music like Wagner or Chopin to men and women who have entered the enchanted world of the movie theater. It's people were absolutely horrified when it came out, and people were picketing, and it was a big to-do, and it's still shocking, and it's still
I should
crazy.
show it at my show.
Yeah, please,
We have a TV right
we have a projector. Yeah.
So how did you discover it, Franz?
It was on YouTube ages ago, and then of course it was pulled like every other thing on YouTube. But I don't want to even say anything about it. It's fabulous. Go
really?
watch
Why?
it
No.
immediately, yeah.
Because were you drawn? Do you have a witchy side to you? Are you?
I'd like to think a little bit. I think every gay man has a little bit of a witch inside of them, frankly. But
Are we talking a sort of Wiccan-y witchery side? Or a
well,
broomstick witchy side?
yeah, I think that can. I mean, a lot of my work actually has to do with witchcraft, and the belief that maybe humans have the ability to harness more power than they give themselves credit for, and
The
we
alchemy
can tap into
of,
things.
of glamour and
Very much so. But a lot of times these documentaries, it's actually really sad. I mean, I know you watch it for kind of the thrill of witches, but it's horrible what happened to these people.
Well, that's just it. I mean, like the torture that these innocent people went through, because they weren't really
They were
witches.
medicine people. They were intelligent. They were cultured. They were
It's part of the bloody legacy of Christianity, isn't it? Which is to demonize all sorts of alternative other thinking.
Women.
Yeah.
And women for their sexuality.
And then torture them. I mean, the Inquisition, growing up reading history at school, like they would what was it? They would dunk the witch in a pond.
And if you drowned, then you weren't a witch.
If you drowned, they did the right thing, and if you didn't drown, you were a witch because you were using satanic powers to not drown.
So basically, everyone was drowning, and exactly. And there were all sorts of tests like that like just made
lose.
Right? Made no sense whatsoever. And it's basically punishing women for A, sexuality, and for B, trying to be a healer or save people. And it's terrifying what happened. And things got bloodier and bloodier as the Middle Ages went on, and more and more people. It's just ignorance and fascinating stuff. So if you get a chance to watch it, I believe it's on Turner Classic Movie on their app as well.
Fantastic. Number 2. I watched Netflix's big new documentary. Is it The Big Hack or The Great?
The Great Hack.
The Great Hack. Okay.
What is that?
Hack. It's by Karen America and Jahan Nujim, and it basically asks 2 questions, which is how did the dream of the connected world tear us apart? What? You like the whole idea of social connectivity, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The promise of the information age, that more information would be more enlightened, smarter people, the end of prejudice, etc., etc.
And yet, instead, we have descended into chaos.
Into chaos. So how did the dream of the connected world tear us apart, and who is feeding us fear and how?
Well,
the
maggots, the Trumps.
Well, there's basically 3 ways into this story, and it's a fascinating film. I just think everybody has to watch. But one of the ways in is it tells us the story of Cambridge Analytica, which you've probably read about and heard about in the shenanigans surrounding the election, not only the election in America, but also the whole Brexit thing in Britain. And Cambridge Analytica, of which Steve Bannon, who was Trump's special advisor for a long time, is a founding member, was the company that basically turned... Cambridge Analytica was basically created as a propaganda company, as a propaganda machine. And they started out influencing elections in like Trinidad and Tobago.
Belarus.
Where they had a do so campaign in Trinidad and Tobago, which was specifically designed to make people not vote. So that by one particular aspect of youth not voting, it ensured that they got the electoral result they wanted. Blah, 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 blah. They then ended up using these things domestically. Take back control was the line they came up with for Brexit that appealed to British voters. And Crooked Hillary was the line they came up with in America to get Trump in.
It worked.
It's absolutely fascinating how, they claim to have like 5,000 data points on, I think it was like every American voter. And they used this information shamelessly to target what they called the persuadables. And by bombarding them with ads and fake news and the like, they were able to change their vote. Interesting, I've never received anything that's like tried to persuade me to go any other way, because I guess they took one look at my 5K data points and said, well, this guy's like out and out liberal Democrat, drag queen advocate,
But tell me where the intersection with like WikiLeaks and Julian Assange and everybody, is there any overlap or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is where I'm so steeping myself in this shit all the time. I can't completely remember whether I saw it in a documentary or read it somewhere else. But what happened is, Trump made his appeal. Russia, if you're listening, find the emails. A few days later, holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy, Julian Assange gets a whole new internet connection fitted in. He gets suddenly this huge download from Russia, and then the next thing is he's kicked out of the embassy, but he's got all the emails. So Trump said go find them.
Yeah.
Russia went and found them. Russia gave them to WikiLeaks.
What's interesting to me that what Cambridge Analytica did and Trump and everybody is how they targeted these people in the South or whatever, and they fed them old Republican talking points from the 90s about how the people who hated Hillary and all the lies, and they just packaged it in a way that these people suddenly like we know that they've been lying about Hillary for 30 years. We know that, but these people didn't know that, and so they just are. These people are regurgitating old talking points, and the Bernie Bros then took that and the Republican talking points and made it their own, and everybody's taking these old lies from 30 years ago. And
well, that's it. Yes, because we talk about connectivity, we talk about data points, we talk as if this is an incredibly sophisticated, technologically advanced thing capable of robbing us of our willpower. The fact of the matter is, they're just appealing to fear and hatred.
It's the same
the
old propaganda
thing.
from from the 40s and the 30s, and let's go hunting communists.
Yes,
and let's
exactly.
go. It's very frustrating.
It's a really good film.
And you would think that people would be smart enough to see through all of that, but they aren't. And you can fool all the people all the time, and some of the people some of the time. And
well, one of the I think for all of us here and anybody listening is that David Carroll, he's a sort of professor of new media at SVA, I think. He wanted to find what Cambridge Analytica had on him. He wanted his data. They refused to give it to him. And you know what? To this day, they never gave it to him. They even pled guilty in court to not giving him his data.
Well, isn't that the frustrating
they did
thing?
not give him his data. And so I think that's
That's that new world we live in where people are being subpoenaed and they say, no, I'm just not going to show up.
Yeah.
Like, these people do not comply with the law. And like, it's maddening that they show us your data. No, we're just not going to do it. Sorry. No, I don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm above that. I'm above the law. Oh, I get so mad.
What did you think of the girl, Brittany Kaiser?
You know what? I kind of disliked her intensely. She's like the other whistleblower. There's a whistleblower with green hair who was kind of cute.
Yeah.
He's not really in the film that much. And then there's this self-important Brittany Kaiser who's like in a hot tub in Thailand one moment and in a Burning Man the next.
It's like a girl you'd find at Coachella, like in this, like
totally
what?
into the drama of the whole thing, like digging the excitement and the attention while pretending to be freaked out and overwhelmed. I thought she was like a nasty little turd. Didn't you?
Yeah.
Even though she did the right thing, so I suppose she shouldn't.
So wait, what
complain
is
too
this
much.
called?
It's called The Great Hack,
Hack.
and it's on Netflix.
Okay.
All right.
Now who's doing a lot of Netflix? You did everything Netflix.
Everything is Netflix. That's right.
They always get on me about watching too much
over.
Netflix.
But let me tell you, this is a good moment to remind you to get Wow Presents Plus, which is
Yeah.
World of Wonder's premium streaming network. It's only $3.99 a month, Franz, which is less than the price
Cheaper
of
than my coffee.
Yes!
Wow.
Did you know
That
that?
I didn't have this morning.
Well, I will buy you, instead of a coffee, I'll buy you a
Thank
subscription.
you.
Yeah.
Really? You don't?
take it
I don't
iced.
have a subscription.
What?
I know.
You cannot be on this show and not have a subscription.
Well, I
How
can't
dare
afford it.
you?
My
Oh.
God, with what you pay me, my God, I can't afford that.
I think it's time we took a quick break. And when we come back, we'll reveal the number one thing that made us go, wow.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
All right, welcome back to the Wow Report. We're having a lot of fun here with Edward and Franz and James, St. James, and Herb. Hi, Herb. So, well,
That's how the Brits say it.
yeah, we dropped the H. Herb. Listen, so what is number one?
Number one.
Number one
Yes.
is this crazy Nickelodeon YouTube show that, or not? It's not on YouTube.
It's not on
Nickelodeon
YouTube.
show. You sent us YouTube links to.
Yep.
That James and I were just like, what are we watching?
Did you watch it?
Yes,
Wait
I
a-
watched it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Henry Danger, the
Henry
musical.
Danger.
Have you seen Henry Danger?
I've never heard of it.
It is
no.
Nickelodeon's longest running live
It's
sitcom.
like 15 years
Really?
it's been going on or something.
Well, it's created by Dan Schneider, and Dan Schneider created iCarly, and he also created Victorious,
Right.
and he also created Sam and Cat.
Okay.
And then after all those ended, he created Henry Danger.
And Henry Danger now has a full beard and his voice. He started off as like 5 years old and now he's like 40, right?
He's 19.
So
James.
there's the connection. Victoria, Sam and Cat, Ariana Grande.
Right.
And
now
that
in this,
is Frankie
oh
Grande,
my gosh,
okay?
Right.
I see it now.
But the
Okay.
episode you forced us to watch.
Oh my god.
Oh, it is. There's a.
I chased him out of the building yesterday. I was like, what did I just watch?
Well, first of all, it's a blatant ripoff of the Buffy episode, Once More with Feeling. You know what I'm talking about? Where a demon comes and makes everyone sing and dance.
Okay.
Do you know that episode?
So basically,
I don't know
there's
any
You
of
don't
these
know Buffy?
references.
This
No,
show
can you
is about
believe it?
this superhero friend group or whatever. This villain comes in.
Called
Frankie
Frankini.
Frankini comes in and turns everyone into a musical show. Like everyone has to, when they're talking, they have to sing in
It's a
musical.
curse.
Yeah, it's a
curse.
curse.
So
Yeah.
I have to sing.
Yeah, so
I can't
everyone's
speak.
singing.
We're all singing now. We've got the curse.
But Frankie is just lovely.
No,
Okay.
no, I can't say that because
You can't say that, but
he's
just
a
like-
friend of mine.
Okay, well,
James says
it's just
the worst things about his friends.
they turn him into this times 1,000. Like he's
He's the
just
gayest of gays.
Gayest of gay.
Yes,
but they're
which he is, right, in real life.
He is, yes.
Right, that's
He's
basically-
playing himself.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Frankie Grande is playing Frankini, right?
Yes. And is this something that you watch with Elliot and Nolan?
Yeah, it's on because like Elliot's favorite show, Elliot's 4.5, and his favorite show is SpongeBob SquarePants.
Of course.
And when they're not playing SpongeBob SquarePants, which is 20 years old this year, they are peddling, pushing this musical. And at first I was repelled, but then I saw more and more, and I kind of got sucked in. I
Well, wait,
kind of think
do
it's.
you now listen to it in your car?
I think I might buy the
Oh my
soundtrack.
gosh, they
and you
got
find
you.
yourself singing.
Frankini got
pretty
you.
clever. It's pretty clever. But I'm curious, like, what do you think about Frankini? Because Frankie Grande is gay and openly gay, which is great,
No, he's
right?
gay- no,
and
he-
he's the
he's-
brother of superstar Ariana
Ariana
Grande,
Grande.
and he can sing. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a talented
And,
guy.
and he can dance, and he can,
And
he,
he can-
and he pulls the character off really well.
He does.
Yes.
But in this musical, he plays the villain. Frankini is the villain for casting the spell on these superheroes, forcing them to sing and dance and carry on basically in a very kind of gay way, right?
Yeah.
So what do we think about that message?
Well, no, I mean, singing and dancing and being and acting gay is fine. I mean,
Well,
I have no
here's-
problem with that.
But here's the thing: a 7-year-old, 8-year-old watching this who loves musical theater and wants to do that,
he's getting
he
in-
sees that's the villain and that's
Right.
bad, and they don't want to be doing this. So that's a weird little.
But then turning it around, superheroes normally punch, kill, kick,
Yeah.
ultra violent. So in a way, is he really the villain? Because the curse of singing and dancing is really a joyful thing.
I think
And so
maybe
he's
you're
not-
overthinking Henry Danger.
No, I told Franz when I was like, when I first thought it was a little offensive. I was like, why are they villainizing this musical theater? Like people love that.
Well,
And
all good villains, I have to say, are usually very flamboyant.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, well,
True.
and
that
just
is-
like
and,
growing up
you
in
know.
Disney, all the villains
Yeah.
were very
Yes.
gay.
And we
Best
talked
ones.
about that last week. How
Scar in
Disney,
The Lion
yeah, but now Disney is de-gaying all their villains. If you Scar in the new Lion King
Yeah,
is
he's
not
not
gay.
gay.
Jafar in the new Aladdin is
Awful.
not gay. And those were the ones that we as gays always were attracted
Yes,
to. We
yeah.
liked.
I loved the villains.
Yeah, Even Ursula is divine.
drag queen.
Sure.
Well, it's like this is an old problem. Milton in Paradise Lost. God was really boring, but Satan was fabulous.
right, yeah. And on that note,
Well, I can tell you that. I'll tell you another connection. Dan Schneider created Zoe 101, and Jamie Lynn Spears was in it.
and now
Yeah.
Jamie Lynn Spears is coming back. They're rebooting Zoe 101, and
Well,
she's
no one told her that. Did you see her social media?
No, but-
she was posting, be like, Nickelodeon, call me if you're gonna do this.
Oh,
So, like, yeah.
Because I thought she said, I'm up. I'm definitely up for it. And
Yeah,
there
she
was-
said she's up for it, but no one called her.
of
There's all
course,
these
now
rumors
she's
saying,
like, a 35-year-old.
yeah, that's true.
I don't know that it can work anymore unless it's her
She's
grandchild.
the sister of Britney Spears.
Okay. The last thing I watched on Nickelodeon, I think, was like, what was Salute Your Shorts?
Yes.
What would you do? So this is like a whole new Nickelodeon.
that,
I'm
remember
way
all
out of
that?
the. Oh, yep. Yeah.
Well, and I recommend it because it's like
Okay.
there's Henry Danger the musical, and then there's hundreds of episodes of what I think is the best television show ever made, which is SpongeBob SquarePants. It is unbelievably brilliant.
And I do think it behooves you to stay in touch with what the kids are up to. Yeah.
Just a little fun fact, by the way. One of the portraits in my show was posed by a beautiful and brilliant artist named Marlo Meekins, who actually worked on designing the characters for SpongeBob.
Oh,
and,
really?
has posed for me many times. She's my Medusa piece. I did a Medusa piece, but instead of snakes, she's covered in penises. So come see Marlo.
Right.
Yeah.
Come to the Wow Gallery this Friday night. What time, Edward?
7:30.
All right. And if you can't come, look on the Wow Report because we'll be posting pictures and updates. All right, that's all we got time for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for
That was
having
so
me,
fun.
guys.
Oh, thank you, Franz.
So much, yeah.
Come back anytime.
Well, thanks.
Thank you, Edward and James.
Thank you guys.
Hub. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb.
He's
You can watch previous episodes of these shenanigans on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents. Same time, same place next week, right? Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go wow.